Good morning, Toni.
Hello, good
How
morning. Really well. How are you, Natalie?
Great. Ready to talk about digital ownership?
Of course.
Okay.
Super, yeah.
So let's just start in. Why are we even having this chat about digital ownership?
Oh, God.
Why are we talking about digital ownership? What's the deal? It's a buzzword now. What does it mean? What do we mean
Well,
by
I
it?
I guess things have changed a lot over the last, I would say, 5 years, more or less, since the blockchain not only appeared, but also since people started using it, not just for transferring cryptocurrencies, which is something that you just care about how many Bitcoin you have, the total amount that you have. People in 2017, they started using it as well to, store things that you can own, but where you care about which particular thing you own. So it's not the same owning three cars, one of which is a Mercedes, or the other is a Ferrari, and the other one is a Seat. You don't really care about having three. You really care about which three ones you have, right? So this owning something that is unique and differentiated from any other thing is something that just started being used seriously over the last 5 years. And this has caused a massive revolution in different industries. It's just the beginning, but it's changing a lot of things.
Okay, interesting. So how do NFTs ensure the authenticity of digital assets and unique ownership?
All right. So at the technical level, what you're doing is just writing in a computer that is shared by everyone and that is decentralized, permissionless, like Ethereum, for example. There are a number of them. You're just writing there. This serial number is owned by this Web3 address, by this person that controls this Web3 address. It's basically assigning a register in this computer to someone.
Right.
But not only that, you're also trying to say what that identification number, what that serial number actually refers to. So is that serial number identifying a car? Is that identifying a sword in a video game or something related to a loyalty program? So you're also trying to store that, right? The ownership of that is very clear. It is written in the blockchain. What that really describes is really not so clear, but people are starting to use it as if it was clear as well, let's say. And they've started using digital ownership in that sense, in that, that I own this serial number.
And each one is unique.
And each one is unique, yes. So if you ask the blockchain, okay, this serial number, what does it describe, right? There are different means it has to describe it. Eventually it will describe whether it's an axe, whether it's a loyalty program's card, what that really is. So yeah, they are all unique, identifiable, and with their own history and their own past and their own future. So yeah, they are all unique. This is super, super important.
And so blockchain technology has really enabled this to exist at all, this concept?
Exactly. So in the past, in digital applications, you used to own things, right? In a video game, when you enter a video game, you control a character. The character is yours, in a sense. The character may have a costume or something you've bought for the character, and that's supposed to be yours as well, right? The big difference is that in the past, before the blockchain, you were not allowed to transfer that for real money. Even if that could have been some, a character or costume that was super useful or super valuable to others, you would not be allowed to transfer that for real money. And the reason was that if, those things were stored in the past in the game servers, right? If we're talking about the video game. So if the video game company is allowing you to do that, they're basically stating that they are storing in their private servers things of monetary value, that have value outside even the video game, right? So they are basically becoming a custody service. They are becoming a bank if they allow you to do that. And that's basically going against all regulations, and they were not doing that. They knew there was a lot of interest. People, companies tried to do that in a legal way, and it took a massive amount of time and it never really succeeded. That's why people ended up doing that in the black market. There's a massive black market for video game items, for example, right? But it's illegal. And the reason why it was illegal, and still is if you do it this way, is that, the video games and the companies that provide these digital applications have to become banks to allow you to do that. With a blockchain, this completely changes, right? So the blockchain is the bank, and you, the owner of that asset, are the sole custodian, you're the sole responsible person in the world to be the custodian of that asset. The video game company, the digital application developer, they have nothing to do with you owning that. right? They've really literally given it to you, and there is no bank involved. There's just the blockchain. So you can really, for the first time, without an infrastructure, without a huge, massive amount of lawyers in your team, you can actually build applications that just give these things to users, let them trade them if they want for monetary value. They can do many other things in the blockchain, and run your application legally and with confidence.
Got it. So this is really this kind of concept of empowerment of users, or putting the power back in people's hands by literally giving them like real, genuine ownership without it being tied to something, some kind of greater power, some corporate structure, some sort of...
Exactly. So this completely changes the paradigm. What's happening now is that people have started to acquire these things. Some of them for a very expensive price, some of them for a very reasonable price. People are starting to build, like their baggage of items they've been buying from video games, from artists, from people they really love, things that matter to them. So they have all that, and from different applications, right? So think about the change of paradigm. In the past, there would be no incentive for a video game, say, to make your items compatible with a third-party video game that maybe it's even a competitor. Why would I allow you to, bring your character to this other video game? Now, what's starting to happen is that me, the user, who have already paid for it, I already give a lot of value to these things I own, I want to be able to use them in different video games. And if you don't allow me to use my stuff in this world you are creating for me, I'm going to go next door. There's a very similar video game, which, by the way, allows me to enter with all my stuff inside. So suddenly, video games are starting to have all the incentives to allow these things you've been acquired, these NFTs, to be imported in their video games. To all these compatibility issues between how am I going to bring a 3D thing from this video game to this other one? Those are going to be gone in 2 years' time at most. They're starting to work on that to make compatible, right? Because for the first time, there is incentive for all the industry to be compatible with these things, these digital things that you are buying from everywhere in the world.
Is this other buzzword, interoperability?
This is one of the aspects that people refer to when they use the word interoperability. This one refers to things that you've been acquiring in different digital applications or even in the physical world. How am I going to use them in other applications they've never thought of, that I would be appearing there with my Nike shoes suddenly in Fortnite or things like this. So interoperability, one of the aspects is how to make these things compatible in these different metaverses, worlds, and digital applications.
I guess that also ties into this digital identity concept, right? Because if you can take these things that these digital assets that we own and that define us and kind of help create our image and our identity, and we can take them to other worlds, digital worlds with us, then it's there's a consistency there, right?
I agree. I think you're touching a point that is more profound than just what I said. But I was referring before to just being able to, hey, I've bought these things, I would like to use them in this virtual world in terms of utility, right? This is important.
Right.
But you're touching on the point of identity. How do I really feel? How do I see myself as a human? And this goes beyond many things, right? But what's happening, and not just with the blockchain, but in general these days, is that, these new generations, they are interacting so much more online than the previous ones, to the point that some of them actually interact more online than in the physical world, right? So the way you perceive yourself, in the past, it used to be through the way my friends see me, the way my colleagues at work see me, right? So the way I dress makes sense. The car I have, people cared a lot about the car they had, right? Because it was a symbol of status, because people were seeing the car, right? But now nobody sees my car. If I'm just interacting online, they actually see my character. They see the things I wear in these in Roblox, these kind of things, right? So the things that I own now, that I really, really, really own through the blockchain, is the things that people see me with when they interact with me, right? So I'm wearing these costumes, I'm wearing this sword or whatever. So it becomes part of the way I see myself as well. So it becomes part of your identity. I think this is profound, and this is, again, a massive driver for a change in the way digital applications interact with their users.
Interesting.